Yo, welcome back, welcome back. This your boy, K.Sloan, aka Coach Juice, man, and I'm here to really sit down with y'all and have another episode of the Light Institute where I break down different things from mindset development to career ascension education to leadership cultivation, but on a more intimate um one-on-one setting for you guys. Things surrounding sports, things surrounding life, things surrounding relationships. This is for the individuals who once were in the athletic realm and now they roll into the real life, or maybe you in the real life and you wonder what it's like seeing life through the eyes of an athlete or a coach, or maybe you're a parent of an athlete, or maybe you're a loved one of a coach and you just want to get some insight and just kind of get a full understanding of what it's like being in this world, because it's different. It's not quite what it looks like on the outset. You know, people see the high scoring games, the medals, they see the crowds, but they don't quite see the inner workings of what's going on in the psychology of athletics. So I try to dive into concepts that can be cross applicable to real life and to athletics. So, you know, before I even dive into everything in the transfer portal, excuse me, I just want to let you guys know again, go cop the book, man. Be excuse me, blessed to have received an offer from a student athlete success manual for families, everyone seeking strategies to reach their higher selves. Go cop the book. It's on Amazon. I got copies on me. If you ever see me in the community, it's available now. And I got another book in the works from my good brothers from my podcast. I'm a co-host of Be Like Podcast. This is a segment of that. But make sure you guys like and subscribe to the content. This is how we able to give y'all the content every single week. That's going to be able to help you unlock that inner light within. And also make sure that you guys know about the giveaways that we're doing. We're doing a toy giveaway next Saturday with the Fearless Foundation. If you guys want to donate toys, you want to be able to contribute, just let me know. Reach out to me, drop me a message, and just be like, hey, I would like to donate to be able to help some young children be able to have a Christmas this year, because you know that the holidays can be a very trying time for people, man. Being alone on the holidays and not having toys. Some of these kids, the light only comes to them when they're exposed to it. And when we go out there and give toys on the street, we expose these kids to something different, man. We expose them to what it means to give, to be on the opposite side of the gift giving, man. We want to show them that there's power in giving, and when they receive it, man, to see those children be elated and be just at peace, man. It's a very rewarding feeling. So if you would like to come and you'd like to donate your time and your efforts, we would also accept you as well in that capacity. Also, Prosperous Peoples will be having their toy giveaway the following weekend. So that'll be out in Houston. So we got one in Fort Worth, one in Houston. If you want to travel with me, I'm in Killeen. I'll be busting each way. So, if you would like to travel, you'd like to donate your time, reach out. Phone number will be 254-338-4391. Just shoot me a text and we can get that going. But let's get into it, man. So I really for the Light Institute today, we're gonna talk about the transfer portal, also known as the transfer of power portal. It is the one thing I would say that's shaking things up in college athletics a lot. And it's very funny because the transfer portal, if it was around when I was an athlete, things would have been a lot different for myself and a lot of my peers. But I'm glad that it is here, and it's taking out the legs of that gangster mob that was once the NCAA. And I mean, they still are the gangster mob. They still do what they want to do. Let's be real. But things are getting better, man. Things are looking up. Kids getting paid. Transfer portal says that they can do what they need to do. But I just want to show y'all something real quick. So I'm going to give y'all a little bit of insight as to why I even thought this was a relevant topic. The great Deion Sanders, man, he's been making some waves. He made that transfer. I talked about it a little bit on the podcast with my brothers the other day. He left Jackson State, now moved on over to Colorado. He's got all these kids wanting to make the move to be able to be with him, and I just want to kind of show y'all, how this transfer portal really is going to make an impact. So let me put this up. Okay.
We have a few decisions already taken place, so I'm bringing my neighbors with me. And it's really, they don't do no more. Next, one of the student body. Some of the parents to put up with for 2 decades.
Okay, Dion.
Right? When I get him, it's gonna be changed. Just want to get y'all to get ready. To go ahead and jump in the portal and do whatever you're gonna do. If you want to jump in, you're gonna do it. So we bring the kids. If it's smart, say that smart. Jump. Fast. Discipline. Okay. Okay. Smart. Tough. Fast. Discipline. Okay. This is what we're going to get.
All right, so that is the great prime time. You know what I'm saying? He's selling that dream to these boys. You know, really I say selling the dream. I would say that he's getting the boys up to speed as to what he's going to expect and what he's about to do. And breaking down what he's about to do, you know, it's already been seen. Deion Sanders has already dropped 3-star recruits, 4-star recruits, left and right that Colorado had before. And the reason why he's doing that is because he's making room for those kids that are jumping into the transfer portal in order to, you know, maximize their opportunities and make their lifelong dreams happen. And, you know, the transfer portal has created a lot of buzz. So what it is, you know, y'all keep hearing me say transfer portal, transfer portal. By definition, the transfer portal was created as a compliance tool to systematically manage the transfer process from start to finish, add more transparency to the process among schools, and empower student athletes to make known their desire to consider other programs. I want to say that one more time, to empower student athletes and their desires to consider other programs. So now, when talking about that, I want to kind of double back on my story. So, you know, I went to a Division I school coming out of high school. I received an offer from Montana State University. When I went there, I played a little bit during my freshman football year, and then I tore my ACL my sophomore season, and I ended up getting redshirted medically, which means I got that year of eligibility back. But what happened is when I ended up getting injured and tearing my ACL and being out for 6 months, then the college football game recruits. That's the game. It's not like high school where, you know, the main focus is like the development of athletes. You know, the college football game is also development of athletes, but the coaches, being a coach myself, I know this game very well. When I was there anyway, it's to recruit better players than what you have right now. Right. So the whole thing with college coaches is they want to bring in better players than what they have right now. And I was essentially recruited out. So they brought in an influx of players in my position. I played the running back position. They brought in an influx of players to be able to replace my productivity. And in that situation, I had only played for 1 year. So under this new transfer portal rule, which says that you can now one-time transfer from school to school on the same division, I would have been able to jump into the portal, which allows players to be able to put themselves on the market and to be shopped around to go to a different school. At the time, the transfer portal was not around when I was in school. So what I ended up having to do was I tore my ACL. I got in a little bit of trouble. My beautiful daughter was born during that time frame, and I was forced out of Montana State because I lost my scholarship. My head coach cut my scholarship because he no longer saw it fiscally important to have me on the roster. So this happens a lot, and it's happened in the past a lot. And what it does to athletes mentally is debilitating. It really is. It put me into a whirlwind of depression, identity crisis. I didn't know who I was. I was staying with my teammates on their couches. I couldn't pay my rent no more because I wasn't receiving my scholarship check. I was going through a dark place, man. I was drinking, I was driving, I was doing all kind of crazy stuff because I was at a loss of identity. And this is a place that a lot of athletes get to. This is when you see athletes go from MSU to DCU, the crib university. So a lot of athletes this happens to. And for me, what that took me down was a path to where I ended up going to a junior college, a small junior college in Texas. Tried to get seen there because I couldn't go anywhere else in my conference, and I was pushing my film out constantly, but there was no official transfer portal, so I wasn't able to be marketed at that time. So it was just pretty much all in the legs of me. And I mean, when you're 19 years old, 20 years old, you don't quite know how to market yourself in a way that you need to. And it was just, it's rough, man. You damaged goods. And also what happened back then was you had to get approval from your coach to look at other schools, which I had that approval, but I would have to get approval from the school I was trying to go to be able to come and check out the campuses and things like that. And there was so much red tape that it made it extremely difficult. And most coaches didn't even want to deal with the headache unless they knew for sure that you would come in and play right away. So it was such a trying time for me. I can even recollect, man, at times I was sleeping out of my car. I was sleeping on the floor in my apartment for a long time because I had no furniture. I had no money. I had no funds. I was making roughly $1,000 to $1,500 a month playing college football, receiving a scholarship. But then as I, ended up transitioning out, I was now in a position where I was flapping. And I ended up, housing myself at a Division III school where I grinded it out. I took out some student loans, and I ended up finishing my athletic career at Hardin University. Thank God for that. And thank God for the good people over there at Hardin University. I'm forever indebted to those people. But I mean, all this to say that the transfer portal is really changing lives, because now it's saying that these athletes, if you have an athlete in your family, if you are an athlete yourself, if you are a parent of an athlete, your athlete can go to a school, and now that school that they go to, they're not landlocked to that school. So it's not like these coaches can't act however they want to act with your kids no more. Your kid has a little bit more power now. They have leverage now. And in this period right now, we are at December 7th right now. So this is the period between now until the spring that athletes can jump into the portal after their year or 3 years or 4 years of eligibility. And they can say, hey, I want to explore other options. And now they don't even have to make it known to their coaching staff that they're doing that. They could jump into the portal and they can be shopped out. They can be bought out of the portal just off the strength of being in it. And it's empowering. And I'm gonna say why it's empowering. And I know the counter argument is, well, like I was seeing things online and things on TV where it's like you got these major coaches that are saying things like, oh, that's not fair that these athletes are going into the portal without us knowing. And it's like, Mac Brown actually made a comment. Mac Brown said that people are tampering with money with guys and tempting them to leave. Mac Brown, this is the head coach in North Carolina, said that people are giving money to players and getting them to leave. And I said, Mac Brown, Mac Brown, you know they've been doing that for years, bruh. Like they doing that at high school. Now let's be real, y'all. Money been moving sports, man. Basketball, football, baseball, track, soccer. Money been moving sports. So people that are capitalizing off these athletes are the ones that's talking about, hey, it's not fair that the people are tampering with my guys and they offering them money to take them out of my school, and they're trying to go, and they're just mad. These coaches that are doing this, it's because they capitalize off the backs of these players, right? When I used to recruit football players, I told them explicitly, and I always keep it real. I said, you are coming to this school for the school. You are not coming here for the coaches, because coaches will leave, period. That's college coaching. Coaches leave. Imagine you talking to a parent, or you being a parent, and you dropping your baby out for the school, and you trusting that your baby's in good hands, and they thousands of miles away, or they hundreds of miles away in another state, and they by themselves, and you leave them to this family, right? You leave them to this family, and all of a sudden that coach gets fired 5 months in for something that crazy that happens. Now the coach leaves, another coach comes in, and this guy has no attachment to your son. This person has no attachment to your daughter. Now they look at your daughter like they just an asset. They're just stats. They're just height and weight. And now your kid is going through a depressive state because they don't feel like they're in a family environment anymore. The whole reason why they came is now shaken up and blown up in their face. And this is something that people don't talk about enough. And this is why when I listen to certain things that I hear some of these coaches say, it's almost like they don't understand that this was coming, because it was wrong what was happening before. It was wrong. Everybody knew it was wrong. The NCAA started paying athletes recently, and they knew they had to start paying athletes, because if you look at the checks, man, Prime's making millions and millions of dollars going to Colorado. You feel me? Like Nick Saban's checks. Looking at when Lincoln Riley's checks, all these head coaches that's making these big, massive, deals, and these kids were playing for a couple thousand. You know what I'm saying? These are multi-million-dollar programs, and these kids just getting a couple thousand. Like, come on, man, you got to be fair. So, when we're talking about this, man, the transfer of power is now happening, man. In 2022, we are seeing an immense transfer of power, and it's important as an athlete, family member of an athlete, coach of an athlete, anybody that's close to these athletes, you have to really be imparting good information upon these athletes, because they are now getting to a position where they can really take control of your entire financial situation as a family. I mean, right now, University of Texas O lineman is going to come in, and if he starts, he can make $50,000 in a nonprofit, from a nonprofit organization, through NIL deals. So NIL deals are basically sponsorships for athletes, because they can now get paid. There's sponsorships through third parties to the school that can get these athletes paid, and they immediately could become some of the high earners in family households immediately. And it's important that we consider these things, and that's what the transfer portal is allowing these athletes to do. It's allowing them to maximize these opportunities that are afforded to them, because, hey, as long as I get in the door, right? As long as I get into a university, as I step on the field and I show my ability to produce, I could leave here and go somewhere else where there may be some more money to maximize my opportunity and take care of my family and put us in a whole different tax bracket. Now, taxes is always a whole other conversation, but the fact of the matter is that is an influx of capital that goes into a family, because we have an athlete that is taking care of his grades, he's being a good citizen, and he's doing what he loves to do. I mean, this is a win. This is called a transfer of power, folks, and I'm here for it. And y'all got to understand something, though. Every time there's a transfer of power, there's always going to be good and there's always going to be bad. So I kind of wanted to address some of those things. So when you're talking about the transfer portal, it was created October 15, 2018. And what it looks a lot like, if I had to liken it to something, those of y'all that are my NFL fans, it's like the NFL waiver system. So the NFL waiver system is it's the waiver line. So you got the NFL waiver line differentiates between like vested veterans and least experienced players. And the way they differentiate that is the waiver wire allows teams to submit claims for qualifying players that have previously been cut by other teams. Organizations usually have about 24 hours to do so, but the window is a bit shorter on a cut down day, with final cuts taking place at 4 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. So these teams only have until noon Wednesday to submit claims to players' rights. And basically, the purpose of these waivers is to prevent teams from colluding to exchange players outside of normal trade rules. So it's basically making sure that one team's not getting all the players. All the players go into a waiver wire, and the worst team in the NFL has a chance to get players in the waiver first, right? And it goes down the line, right? So there's a period in time when players go on waivers, and if they're not claimed, right, then other teams can claim those players. It's like a pool, right? And then if over time, if they're not claimed throughout that process, then they go into free agency. And excuse me if I misspoke on any of that, you guys can go ahead and correct me in the comments, you know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much my most clear understanding of what the waiver wire is. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because now college athletes is professional sports now, right? So it's not, let's stop calling it collegiate sports on the cool. We can call it a subsection of professional sports. This is pro sports now, and it's always been that way. I mean, when you take my son and you put him in workouts from 8 a.m. and then you tell him to go to school from 9 to 10 to 11, then at 12 he eat lunch, then at 1 he go to practice, then at 2 he got another a film session, then he got 3, 4, he got to be at study tables, and then 5 he eat dinner, and then when you have his whole day laid out, he has a job. And the thing is when you do something like that, it's going to take a toll on your mind, body, and spirit. And everybody is well aware of what they get into when they go into that situation. But the thing is, as a coach, you have a vested interest in that player, in these players. There are players all across the country that go to universities where these coaches don't give a hoot about what's going on with these kids. Some of these coaches are just out here trying to get paid. They looking at your son like he dollar signs. They're looking at your daughter like she dollar signs, but they're not worried about where they going when they get home. They're not worried about if they eating or not. They're not worried. And they dog cussing them sometimes. They're exploiting these players sometimes. And I think now what this transfer portal is doing is just holding these coaches accountable. It's making these coaches say, you know what? Hey, if we don't take care of these kids, they might leave. And guess what happens when they leave? Now you're going to lose that bag because now you're losing players. Now you're losing games. Once you start losing games, then guess what you might lose next, baby? It's been a long time coming. What do you say? Don't Sam Cook? But I know a change go come. A change that came, baby. A change done came. It is necessary. Absolutely, positively. I'm here for it. And you know, and I showed y'all that video of Dion because the thing is with Dion is Dion broke it down so simple. And people saying it's harsh, right? But Dion just kept it real with them boys. Colorado football team not gonna look like that little team y'all just seen in that video. No, baby, nah, baby. It's gonna look like prime times Jackson State. You're gonna see 6'5", 280 running 4.7. You're gonna see Shadur Sanders. You go or shot whatever one he is. Shiloh, the quarterback. You gonna see you know what I'm saying, rap music playing on TV in the locker room. He about to turn that place up because that's his job. And what people have to understand is that these coaches have to do their job. They have to entertain. They have to win games. They have to do these things. And you are an asset when you show a coach that you can play, you can produce on that field, on that court, on that track, wherever. You have shown that you are an asset as well. And now what the players get to do, right? And I love Dion because Dion's showing y'all straight up because look, players, y'all could jump in the portal. He said it. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. They jump in the portal, guess what? They could get scooped up somewhere else. And also, not only could you possibly get scooped up somewhere else, you may go to a team that may not have as much prestige, but you might have an opportunity to receive funds now because that team has a company working with them that has a collective of funds that they can push into your pockets. 20,000, 30,000. Some of these kids are signing $1 million contracts. Now, I'm not saying that's all kids, but they signing these contracts off of the strength of what they do on that athletic realm. Y'all, you gotta stop thinking that now. Oh man, because I know what the old school people thinking. Oh, the transfer portal is damaging the game. It's teaching kids to jump ship. No, it's not teaching kids to jump ship. It's teaching kids to value themselves. It's teaching kids to value themselves. And then when you couple that with the NIL deals, right? Again, remember I told y'all the NIL deals is where people are making the money. It's where the athletes are now being able to monetize off of their ability to perform. Then now you get what I'm about to show you next. So I'm gonna show y'all a video next of what we got going on with that NIL and how that's so important as to what we got going on in the athlete landscape, the student athlete landscape. Well, let me see if I can set this for y'all. All right, check this out.
the NIL era of college sports. A little more than a year in, Paige Becker's deals, they headline the list, right? Gatorade, Crocs, but for most athletes, those deals look much more local. Sports reporter Matt Finkel gives us an inside look.
It's a big deal. I've been loving it so far, just to promote myself out there, kind of like my own business in a sense.
UConn basketball players Alex Caravan and Richie Springs are used to drawing a crowd.
Walking down the street, people are seeing them, people are giving them high fives. Kids are coming around for autographs.
Real estate agent Evan Berman hired the Huskies to create a little buzz and help promote his business. It's one of the many ways students can now benefit off their own name, image, and likeness.
Make a lot of money, you don't have to work any extra jobs or do anything like that. You know, so it's a very good opportunity for us.
These students bring a lot to the state. They put fans in the seats, they sell parking, they sell t-shirts, they sell gear, and they make a lot of people happy. They're a great form of entertainment. And they're giving so much to us that I want to do something to give a little something back to them.
Berman connected with the athletes on the NIL marketplace. UConn partnered with Open Doors to help athletes market themselves, and it's teaching them some valuable lessons.
Definitely learn how to operate a business, learn what's the in and outs of the business, taxes, learn how to pay taxes now.
The opportunities are there for all athletes, some big like Paige Becker's deal with Gatorade, and others more locally focused. In both cases, it's another way for the athletes to make an impact.
Yeah, I love giving back to the community. I love hanging out with the fans. I love meeting new people.
It's definitely awesome. I mean, I've always prided myself on helping local people and just giving back to the community.
So help other people in the community get some ideas, give athletes, whether they're basketball players, volleyball players, swimmers, soccer players, football players, give other athletes a chance to get some exposure for themselves and maybe help promote their businesses at the same time.
All right, so let's go ahead and take that out of here.
Join us Thursday, December 8th for the Salvation Army's Restoring Hope Day of Giving. With rising costs for food, gas.
Take that out of here. Get that back on here. So y'all see what I'm talking about, man. Y'all see what I'm saying. You got the change. The change is here, y'all. The change is here. There's a very important piece of what that young man said. He said, I'm learning how to do taxes. I'm learning how to run a business. I'm learning the ins and outs of it. And that's the change. Athletes have not been aware of these things in the past, right? We're getting these business degrees. We're getting these finance degrees. We're getting these social work degrees. We're getting these psychology degrees. And then we leave and then we only have three options. You either go coach, you either go be a teacher, or you go do something that wasn't necessarily in your field of work for a little bit until you get some experience. But now what's happening is through NIL is that these athletes are getting the opportunities to go and really learn the ins and outs of economics. That's never been a thing for student athletes. This is a different level of internship. This is a substantial advance for these student athletes. And it's also an opportunity for people, right? This is the next level to this. It's an opportunity for people to get behind the athletes and their family. And once you got an athlete, like let's say right now, right? This is what I would do. If I had a little cousin right now that was going to be a Division I athlete, and I knew that they was going to either play at Utah, UMass, University of Texas, University of South Carolina, University of Illinois, I would start at LLC. I would start at LLC. And through starting that LLC, once that student athlete is there, then you can get something worked out with the school to where you guys can have a business working together and they can start to run camps in their hometown and make money through the LLC. And now you're stimulating your personal family economy. Now you are at work in this country. Now you working with the capitalistic views of society, and that's how it works here. And before it was just us doing the work, and the thing is, the most impactful thing that these athletes have is their influence and their labor. You know what I'm saying? They have the influence because everybody knows who they are. They're the stars on campus. They're the stars in their community. They do a lot of amazing things. People know their faces. People know their names. And then they put in work constantly. But there's never been that ownership piece. And now student athletes are now able to get ownership in what they've done, and they get ownership and they take control of what they have. And now they're not forced to be at the mercy of these coaches, because there's so many athletes that need to be directed. Once they get out of athletics, they have to be directed. That's why they make such great workers when they get into the workforce, but they're almost like small children in a sense, when it's like you're afraid of spreading your wings. And I'm telling you this because it was me. I was afraid to spread my wings for so long because I had a fear. And my fear said that I was afraid to do things on my own, especially as it pertained to finances and money, because you didn't really touch it that much. And to be honest, it wasn't a focus of yours. You didn't get that practical practice unless you got it in the household. But now what it is that you immediately can start to get that experience if you are aware you have a plan going into college athletics. So, you know, I love that. I love the idea of just crowdfunding our players, man. Like, what stops us in our community from getting the top 5 players in our community at each sport, at each major sport, getting behind them, creating a fund, and being able to take care of those kids while they're in school, and make sure that they have a quality college experience. Excuse me. Because these end up being the leaders for us. I mean, we build streets for them, and we make these athletic complexes, and we bring them back to speak to our kids and things like that. But what are we doing to be able to actually like help them level up, right? If athletics doesn't work out, because a lot of times athletics it's fickle. All it takes is a blown knee, a busted shoulder, a couple of concussions, and now that's a pipe dream. But what's happening now is the control is now in the hands of the athletes and in the families, right? So now we can say that your ability to play this game is now a cash producing asset for us. It is literally injecting capital into the family business. Now you can do business. Now you can break generational curses because of the ability to play the sport. And before it wasn't like that, because you had to make it to the league to get your mama home, and then you get your mama home, and now you in debt, and now they put you on the practice squad and they cut you, and then now you back at home, and you trying to figure out where the pieces all at. But it's no longer that anymore now. If you are smart enough to be able to have some forward thinking and make some rational decisions and have good people in your corner, you can really transform the life of yourself and your family. It's powerful. I just want to plug a couple of apps real quick before I get out of here. Open Doors is an app where they were talking about on that video. It's part of the NIL marketplace. So any student athlete would any type of prospective schools after them, you should look into Open Doors and see what Open Doors is. Just go download the app. It's pretty easy to download. If you don't want to create a business, if you guys don't want to start an LLC and start to try to, plan in that way to do business, you can just do affiliate marketing for businesses on Open Doors and be able to make money that way. You can market your services for different deals through that way. And I mean, there's just a lot of opportunities in that realm. And guys, the main thing is, biggest bills that we have as Americans here is going to be, buying a home and then going to school, right? A lot of times that's where we end up throwing all our promise into all of our hard-earned savings into buying homes and going to school. Well, look, man, if there's an opportunity to go get your school paid for, and then they give you a lump sum of money from an outside entity, or you can build that outside entity and make your own money, take advantage. And you guys make like a 5-year, 6-year plan, because that's a typical career for a collegiate athlete. Don't just bank on that professional situation. Man, when they get a transfer or they get into that school, if it ain't looking like it's supposed to look, man, jump into the transfer portal. Go to a school where you're going to get a better deal, so you can be able to create a long-term plan so that you guys can put yourselves in a situation to where y'all can win for a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? So your kids can win. This is what it is now. This is the new game. This is a transfer of power, man. The NCAA is no longer choking us out, man. The NCAA literally had me by the neck my freshman year. They told me I could not play because I had a English class that was a discrepancy from my freshman year in high school, and they knew that before I stepped on campus. But they a gangster mob, you know what I'm saying? They a gangster mob. They could do what they want, but what they did was they opened up the floodgates as it pertains to the transfer portal and the NIL. So now that we are able to have control, that we have to take the information and not let it be like the gold mine, right? Y'all learn from the NFT situation. The money ain't gonna always be here. It ain't gonna always be like this. It's gonna tighten up. They're gonna wise up. They're gonna get back to getting on their gangster ways. But you gotta make sure you capitalize in the opportunities where you can capitalize. Don't be a fool. Play it cool and do what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like Institute. Make sure boy